One of our biggest aims is to help combat the male suicide rate in the UK, which right now is our #1 leading cause of death for men under 45. We put on workshops and coaching, all to progress modern masculinity, to help men find their identity, recognize their value, and live out their purpose. So it's all about men supporting men, but to support other community groups as well. We are highly aware that there are a lot of issues that are exacerbated by men, and other community groups such as women, the LGBTQ+ community, etc., bear the brunt force of that. So our mission is to get within the male community, get to the root causes of a lot of these issues, and we believe if we do that, it will unequivocally have a positive impact on everyone else. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so just probably a little bit of background about me. I have been working in retail for about 5 years. I actually quit my job to do Milk for Tea full time. So yeah, quite a bold move, but we're here now. Yeah, so I'm actually based in London, and Dan and I have been working together for about 24 months now. We launched the company about 2 months ago. Yeah. And yeah, alongside working with various different communities, one of our big strategies is to help change corporate culture around masculinity. There's a lot of toxic stereotypes around males in corporate cultures, so we're really trying to get into those cultures and change it. So.
So today we're going to be talking about modern masculinity, and it really is just an informal conversation. We're going to go through a series of just guided questions, and we really want to hear from you all about your opinions, experiences, etc., or experiences that you know from other people, stories you have from other people, about your experiences with masculinity. And the reason for that is that we really wanted to, one, to be able to express how we feel about the current state of masculinity, but also what we can do to actively progress it in our everyday lives, in our community, etc. And so, is that all right with you all? Amazing. Oh, cool. So we will first start off with yeah, I'll switch over. We'll first start off with, as it pertains to masculinity, we're going to start off in what we call the goal section. And the goal, that's where we would like, so ideally where we would like masculinity as a society, a culture, etc. to be. So right now we all may have different views of where masculinity is at, how men are portrayed, how men treat other community groups such as women, the LGBTQ+ community. So ideally, where would we like that to be? So ideally for you all, how would you like to be treated by men? How would you like to engage with other men? How would you like the male community to act? Etc., etc. So anyone get it moving?
The obvious one really is to be treated as equals.
Yeah.
Because even men and men, we don't treat each other as equal.
Yeah.
I mean, I myself, I've not really had a lot of male friends. They've always been women. Just because of how we actually treat each other.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So is equality okay to put down? Yeah, yeah, sums it up well. Okay, yeah. Cool.
I'd say emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Like not that I'm saying there isn't any, but I mean accessing the emotional intelligence. Yeah. Which I don't think is encouraged. I don't think it's seen as cool, or like it's seen as weak, but actually it's incredibly brave and powerful and really helpful, and yeah. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Amazing. Emotional intelligence. All right, this is good. Good start.
I think that connects to that as well, like emotional sensitivity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Because I think like the male on male thing, I think it's like hard for men to express like sensitivity without being considered like less of a man.
Yeah.
Or like being considered like feminine.
Yeah. 100%. Understand that. Yeah. I do like these pens. They're really nice.
Except from this one's running out, so I just thought I'd park that one.
Good. I like the orange. I like the
This one is good.
Perfect. Feel free, if you want to come along, feel free to come. Very informal here, so it's all good.
I might just see Flora's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Cool, yeah, no problem.
So what we're doing right now, thank you for being here. we're right now starting off in regards to masculinity about as a society and culture where we would like masculinity to be. So the most ideal situation for us, how we would like the male community to treat other community groups such as women, etc., and how we would like inside the male community, how we would like to engage with each other. And so far we like to be treated equally. We would like for the male community to have more emotional intelligence and a more emotional sensitivity. So men being able to be vulnerable and sensitive to each other and to other people without being deemed as less than or demasculated, etc. Anything else? This is a very good start. Or where we would like masculinity to be. I'll put one. I would ideally like the men to be a lot more supportive of each other and other people. So, for instance, you know, I speak to a lot of women. It's similar to you. Most of my friends growing up were girls, and even now in my adult life, I have a lot of female friends, which I'm very, very appreciative of, and kind of feel free to pop them. I feel really appreciative of, and that has helped me have a better understanding of how of the experience that women have in the corporate world, in just everyday life, etc. And so, as a man, I recognize there are a lot of issues that we are exacerbating, and so I would love for the male community to recognize more of that and actually recognize that a lot of these issues are our issues. So, for instance, domestic abuse, sexual human trafficking. These are two issues where men are the main perpetrators and women are the main men are the main perpetrators and women are the main victims. So a lot of people see these as female issues, as women issues, but they're actually male issues. If men are the main perpetrators, then that's actually an issue within our community that women are actually bearing the brute force of. So I would love men to be a lot more supportive of each other and other groups, for me personally. So yeah, we're just sharing where we would like masculinity to be at. So if you've got anything, whether they're experiences of yours or whether they're like of stuff you've heard.
I'll put one. I think, like, for me, there's a lot of, the feminist movement is completely huge now, and like whenever we speak to, like, we would consider ourselves as feminists, but when we speak to a lot of people around like the feminist movement or whatever, it's like they think that there's like this pot of like, good to go out. So if we uplift the female community, then the male community has to suffer. So it's kind of similar to equality, but I think just to expand on that, it's kind of like everyone can uplift each other. It's not just like, okay, so there's a massive drive on the feminist movement at the moment, and that's all that matters. It's like the feminist movement, yeah, that's absolutely fantastic, but let's like uplift men as well. So yeah, I don't really, how would you describe that?
So like women's rights don't have to be like detrimental to men's rights?
Yeah, I think just like there isn't just like a pot to go around. Like, there's not just a certain amount. Like, the female community can thrive alongside the male community. It doesn't have to be like one or the other. So, yeah. Which
is perhaps why I think you get some resistance to men as to when you speak to men about feminism or gender equality, etc. Because men right now hold the majority of the power. So whenever you speak to someone in that space of power, and see another community group, I think some people do feel like actually I have to give up my place for someone else to come and take it, whereas actually no, you want to bring other people alongside to where you are. So it's not an either or, it's an all together type of situation. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah, maybe I'll just put all together. That's a nice way to summarize it, isn't it? Okay. Anyone else have any other thoughts?
It's good. It's good. It's a good start. We can always come back to this. We may move on to the reality next. But yeah, if you have any more for like where the goals, that'd be great. So now this is where we want to go. So we want to have more equality. We want men to be more emotionally intelligent. We want men to have more emotional sensitivity. So being able to be vulnerable with each other and other people, partners, etc. We want men to be more supportive of each other and supportive of other community groups. And we want men to recognize that everyone needs to be progressed together. So, us men holding power doesn't mean, women progressing doesn't mean the downfall of men, which is a very good point. Your reality and how the experiences you have with men may actually fit with all of this. You may say actually very positive examples of men, and I've never really experienced anything else, That's amazing. Let me know. But right now we want to talk about what is our reality. So what are we actually experiencing from the male community right now? What are we experiencing in the workplace? What are we experiencing on the street? What are we experiencing just in our everyday lives? What are you hearing about? What are you seeing, etc.?
Everyday sexism.
Yeah, cool.
I'll turn over a little.
Perfect.
That's definitely not like across the board.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely fine. You're free to express yourself. This is a safe place. You know, everything you say, by the way, he stays right here. So can you elaborate more on everyday sexism? I always find it really interesting, like during the World Cup, you just like this moment in time every 4 years, you see so many men crying on like in one space, and it's just like, it seems like in the world of sport, like men are actually given that permission to, you know, hug each other, to touch each other, to cry, to, you know.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
It's very acceptable.
In those circumstances, but not any other.
And that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And as soon as you leave that space, it's like no.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
It's very interesting. I think there's probably something in that around, I don't know, for me personally, for instance, we were speaking with a company, because we go into corporate spaces and do workshops and everything like that. So we were speaking to this women network at this law firm, and they've actually given men the maternity leave there, like the same amount that they give women, but none of the men have taken it. And so, like, I think a lot of people are saying, oh, we need to give men like more time to be with their families and everything like that. And this one organization is saying we have, but like no one wants to take the time off to be with their family. And I think that's because no other guy has. Like, I think it's, I know if I was
someone to take the first step.
Exactly.
So it'll be like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I know, like, for me, like, even if we, like, with our company, like, if Jack wasn't doing that, then I'd be like, well, I'm not doing that, because it's like, I'm not gonna, there's something in us that's like, you know, well, if Jack's not doing it, I'm not gonna do it, because I feel less than if I did do that in a space, like.
Looking at you, be like, oh, just leave it, it's fine. Yeah. So yeah, it is. I think it's probably ingrained into our culture that you need to be kind of led. Yeah.
But I think there's something in the, I know with me personally, not necessarily with us, but like in other spaces I've been in, there is this like kind of like alpha male type of, I don't want to be perceived as being weak. I know when I've been in those spaces, I don't want to be perceived as being like, well, if he's sick and he's coming in, well, I'm going to come in as well. And I think there's just this, almost this innate thing that I wasn't consciously making those decisions, but I think subconsciously, yeah, I was. It was like, I don't want to be perceived as being weaker than this other guy because I need to be off sick or because I need to do this, et cetera, et cetera. So I know for me personally, I've experienced that. I think that's something I've experienced. Well, I think within the male community, there's a lack of trust between men, and I think that's what makes us, you know, like again, I think a lot of men feel comfortable speaking to women about exactly, yeah.
It can be used against you, and I think that's it, and that's down to trust. It is purely down to trust.
Yeah, there's
that. You trust someone with that information, because it could be used in the wrong context.
Yeah. Well, probably a lot of times it probably has been in the past, you know, and so we build up this wall.
What you learn.
Yeah. And also probably if you share something with someone, because you've kind of let it out of you, you feel quite vulnerable, and like holding it in probably makes you feel.
Accepted and not
Yeah.
I think it's about finding that safe space, you know. I was thinking about, like, you know, Jack and I, you know, we're running a business together. We're also really good friends as well. We started off as friends, yeah, we go through stuff, and it's interesting, like, I think how we deal with stuff with each other to how I may deal with something with other male friends that I have, you know, and you know, just the vulnerability that I think we allow, and we give our space, and I allow him to be vulnerable. He gives me the space to be vulnerable. And it just, and when we do have situations, you know, how we handle it, I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is a very healthy way of dealing with this. And it's tough and it hurts, and it's like, you know, you have to be really vulnerable with this person and this other man, and it's like, yeah, you know, there's not many people I would feel comfortable doing that with all the time, you know. It sounds also like there's a lack of community then, just a lack of support. In my opinion, I don't know how you all feel, but I feel like women do really well with that. You know, like if there's an issue, I feel like women are good with going, like talking to their friend about it, talking to their mother about it, talking to whoever about it, or even if it's another guy. Just they're like, all right, let me speak to someone. Like it seems like that's the first thing. Like let me go express myself. Because it's that classic case of, like, you know, when a man asserts himself, he's very strong. When a woman does it, it's like a completely different perspective that people have on it. You know, I've been in the workplace, and I've heard men and women. Like the majority of my managers in my professional career have actually been women, and I speak to Jack about this a lot. And it's been a beautiful thing. You know, they've been the ones, even with Milk for Tea, actually, the majority of women that have actually helped us with this company, I'd probably say 90% women, and the ones who have helped open the door, help give a leg up, help say, you know, come, like, sit down, we're going to help. The majority of it's been women, you know, and we're very, very thankful for that. And like, we think there's something so beautiful. Women are just so compassionate and like so just ready to help. And I've experienced that through my professional career and with Milk for Tea as well. But I remember being back in my in the corporate space and literally being in situations where either one, I knew I was being treated differently because I was a male and I was benefiting from being a male in that space, or having a female manager who was asserting herself and everyone is saying like, oh, well, she's being this, she's being that, you know, usually a bit derogatory. But when a man does it, it's like, okay, let's, you know, it almost feels good to have someone like guide you in that way. Whereas it's a completely different feel that I think people get from women, which is a double standard for sure. But it helps, again, it says experiences that help open my eyes to like, you know, the challenges within the workspace that women have. But yeah. Anyone have anything else? It's been really, really good. This is really positive. I think if no one has anything, I think we'll leave it there for now. Yeah. Thank you all so much for sharing. We really appreciate that, and I hope you guys have found this this beneficial in some way. Before we go, actually, I don't know if you have any pens available, but if
well, I've got your magic.
They might be too big. We'll see. But we have post-it notes here. If you could write, you don't have to put your name on it at all. If you could just write one thing you liked about the workshop, if anything, one thing you learned from the workshop, if anything, and one thing you would change about the workshop, if anything. Again, you don't have to put your names on it. It just helps us so we get better at what we do, and we can get feedback from you all so that we can make these the best that we can possibly make them. So perfect, yeah, if you just take one and pass it on, or if you want to write on it and then pass it on.